with Brock and just how difficult is this for both him and for the group?
Yeah, he's been a big part. I think obviously he had a great year for us, big part of the team. He scored some big goals for us, so it's a tough one. But next man up, right? That's the way you got to approach it, like we have all year.
How do you approach potential matchups? Because not only is he a guy that can score for you, but you've had him out there against McDavid's line. How much does it affect that part of it?
Well, you got to lean on some other guys. Some other guys are going to have to take a piece of the pie on that. There are going to be certain guys might have to play certain positions at certain times. It's Game 7. That's what you got to do. So there might be some different combos at different times. But yeah, it's a big piece out. But like I said, there's opportunity for a lot of guys, and some guys are excited about it.
Rick, what can you tell us about the nature of Brock's injury, just in terms of sort of a formal team statement?
Yeah, I don't want to get in the injury just for Brock too. I'd rather wait. We'll talk about it down. I don't want to get into Brock's injury right now.
Can you just give us a timeline? He played Saturday night. He met with us after the game in the media. Obviously, you guys flew home.
Yeah.
When did this become apparent that it was going to be an issue?
Well, I just yesterday found out he won't be available. Basically, that's it. He's being evaluated on the, he's probably going to be evaluated again. So I don't have a time frame.
And I know yesterday, and it's Game 7 and everything else, but when I asked you if it was just a maintenance day, did you know before practice then?
I forget what the timeline was. Maybe late morning. I can't remember. I think it was late morning.
Rick, Game 7. I mean, Dakota talks to us, but this is what you guys play for. What is the key to being ready to play in a big moment like this?
Yeah, I think you have to lean on your foundation in these things. I think, you really want your team to feel comfortable. There's going to be some guys that are going to be nervous. There's some young guys. There's, you got a whole different crew of a team, and you want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. And the best way is to lean on your foundation. I think it's very important that you don't, you're not trying to, it's not a one-man show. You can't think you got to do it all yourself. You do that, that's when you get in trouble. So the one good thing about our team is we've stayed pretty good this year with our system and foundation. We got off kilter, obviously, last game. We weren't at our best. But the one thing we've always leaned on when we've not had a bad game is come back to your foundation. And that's really got to lean on. And you got to play uncomfortable. There's certain things that you've probably not that type of player. You might have to be a little uncomfortable in doing that. If you're a guy that doesn't really block many shots, you might have to block some shots tonight. I think you got to play out of character sometimes.
How has the resilience of this group evolved since you got here 18 months ago?
I think it's been great. From my end, being the head coach, the way they've, we've had some ups and downs, a lot more ups this year. But the response that these guys, that's what I'm more proud of, their response after, things don't go your way or even a poor outing. That's a credit to them.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
There's a side of Brock that you got to know last year.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word project, but there are a lot of parts of his game that had to come around to become a more reliable guy in all three zones. He did the work in the offseason, changed trainers. You got to know the person as well as the player to have 40 goals. How impressed are you that he embraced everything you asked of him?
Yeah, really impressed. I mean, he's had a terrific year. I mean, I'm really proud. I mean, I took the job. He was kind of, wasn't really thought. I don't know. Around here, it was like, was he going to get trained? I mean, it was kind of a uneven thing, and he just took the. We had a good talk before he left for the summer. Changed a few things, dealt with a few things mentally, and I mean, look, who would have thought I had Brock Besser sometimes checking against the best, all year, some of the best players, and playing when we have an empty net. If I said that a year ago, people think I'd be crazy. So that's how much he's been involved.
Rick, you mentioned the unevenness, but throughout last season there was permission from his agent to seek a deal,
Yeah.
and right away at locker room cleanout day, he was like, "I want to be here."
Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of just that conversation, that buy-in, and sort of what brought us through that circle to here?
Well, I just remember the first couple of minutes he goes, "Talk, I want to be here." He told me, I want to be here. I like what's going on, and I want to change a few things. I told him, fitness stuff that we had talked about, the way you should train, the way whatever. He didn't do that league, whatever they have that league. I think that helped him. I forget what that league that. Yeah, the River Hockey League. I think that's a bad habit league. I shouldn't say it. It's actually, I shouldn't say that because they're a good bunch of guys. Or I shouldn't even say that. I'm just joking around. But for a guy like Brock, I thought that really helped him to do his own thing because he came into camp and he was one of our, look when he scored 3 or 4 goals in the first game. So I think he really took to heart himself that I want to be here, and he did all the things to be here.
Seelovs, are you starting Seelovs tonight?
Yeah.
And then in terms of lineup, you mentioned Brock playing against the other team's best.
Yeah.
That's included a steady diet of minutes head-to-head with McDavid. In terms of replacing him, in terms of other lineup changes, what do you need tonight from sort of the collection of wingers that will come in to sort of replace him in the aggregate or try?
Yeah, I think, obviously it's tough to replace his goal scoring. But we got some a Mikheyev or Laffrey. Those guys are going to have to supply us with some good defense, but also, can they chip in a goal, play a hard game for us? That's where they got some legs tonight. So that we're looking at 2 guys coming in that are gonna hopefully give us some really good juice.
Rick, your team earned the right to host tonight's game because of a strong regular season. What's your message to the fans who'll be in the building tonight?
I mean, I mean, I knew they were great fans. I didn't experience this. I mean, around town and stuff, it's pretty special. I felt it in regular season, but it's a different level. I mean, if you had a Stanley Cup for the fans, they're right up there. They're pretty damn good. And, the way they cheer guys, Petey the other night or Millsy, Garland one time they cheered his name, Seeloff, it pumps the guys up. So, yeah. Does it give us an advantage? I don't know, but it sure gives you some juice as a player.
Rick, you got a mountain of experience. You played a long time in around. Do you have any, when you think of Game 7s, do you have any, you played Canada Cups, and all these guys. Do you have any memories that just jump to your mind, stuff you saw, stuff that happened, guys who played hurt?
Well, I've seen a lot of guys play hurt, take needles, a lot of guys over my career. Seen some unreal players play unreal. The Gretzky, Lemieux, and the Canada Cup. Lemieux, when we were playing in Pittsburgh. Some, Coach Sidney Crosby, the way he played Game 7. Again, it was against Ottawa. Those are the special things. But it's the role players, man. It's the guys that they come. They're good players, but they come from nowhere and they do something. That's who you look for too. There's. Whether it's Edmonton or us, there's going to be a guy, I think, a role player that's going to be a big key tonight. So I don't know who it's going to be, but there's potential for a lot of guys to be that guy.